Greetings, YouTube. Today we're going to take a look at this, which is a Glock bayonet. Now, I picked this up at an antique store, even though it appears to be relatively new condition. I don't know if you've ever or have ever been familiar with antique malls. I highly recommend them. They're a really great way to see a very wide selection of different items. Essentially, a person rents a booth space, and they can put anything they want to in that booth space. Some people put legitimate antique, some put vintage, some put more contemporary items, and so long as it doesn't violate any kind of store policies, they can sell what they want. Like some obviously are not going to want to be selling adult material. I know I bought something once and the person was annoyed. The store owner was annoyed when they found out that the item was pressurized because it was a fire extinguisher. They're like, he's not supposed to be selling pressurized items. Well, I bought it, so it went with me. Um, so I picked this up for 32 bucks, which is a pretty decent price for this. This is an Austrian-made Glock bayonet. I believe that you can also buy ones that are made in China, but I'm not positive. Um, this is obviously a molded sheath, though this right here is kind of interesting because it comes around and it makes a hook. And I don't know if you could get that hook apart or not on your own. It's very deep, so I'm not going to try because I don't want to break anything. But it looks to me like it was made and then they folded it over and it clicked into place. So that may be what happened. Now it's interesting that this is obviously designed for a web belt because it's very wide. But at the end, right here, for about I don't know 5/8, maybe 3/4 of an inch, there's a small nubbin. It's kind of lozenge shaped right at the end, and I think that is so that when you wear it, it will fit between the grommets of a web belt so that it won't slide back and forth. So if it goes to move, it will only move the distance between the grommets. I think that's what that is for. I am not 100% sure, but just looking at it from a design perspective, that is what I would put there if I wanted to keep it from sliding. That way you can still get it on a web belt and it's not going to be sloppy. I wear a belt pouch myself every day, and I make sure that I have it set up so that the two straps on the back of the pouch are on either side of a belt loop. That way the pouch can't move. I think that's what this is for as well. Um, a nice big clip. This is a reversible, has a nice rectangular weep hole in the end. It has a lanyard to hold here, though it's undersized. You can't get paracord through there. Not a shot in hell. I'm not even sure if you get a piece of like paracord through there that was like if you take the innards out, so you get this flat profile, makes awesome shoelaces. I don't even think you get one of those through there. So I don't know why they made that quite as small as they did, because even though this is not a U.S. product, I mean, it aimed for a U.S. market, um, paracord is ubiquitous. I'm sure every military on the planet uses paracord to one degree or another. It's very common. I would have made that ever so slightly larger, but they made it that way so you could do a leg tie down, or say if you were someone who wanted to mount it onto uh, a backpack strap, they could tie it down. You pass a strap through there and there, and then you could have it something like this if you wanted to. I'm not saying that it's designed that way, but it would definitely work that way. Um, it's universal, which is nice. Now, this is designed to go like this. Unfortunately, I have arthritis, so I can't do that motion anymore. So very light, very comfortable, very nice feel to it. Very good quality for as far as a molded sheath is concerned. And here is the knife in question. Now, I know that in the olden days, back when bayonets were something that were actually used in combat, they tended to be long, narrow, and some of them would come to a conical point, some would come to a chisel point. I have a couple of chisel point bayonets in my collection um, from the 19th century. And they're very nasty, and they're long, like 24 inches is very common for a bayonet. Obviously, in the modern era, they have them be much shorter, and a lot of them are designed as utility tools. They're designed as a general purpose tool that a service person carries with them when they're in the field to do the day-to-day tasks that require a fixed blade. Um, but this is very much, in my opinion, not a utility tool. It is thick, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It has flat grind, awesome. I'm a proponent of flat grinds. I prefer flat grinds to hollow grinds. I think that the only place a hollow grind belongs is on a straight razor. A flat grind gives you more meat for your blade, and it makes it stronger. This is a narrow profile. It's not very thick. Interesting. It's got a nice swedge at the end, which is very well done, nice and balanced. Has a nice little flat in the back. Now, what's interesting is there's no sharp tip on this. Now, this isn't a case where it was broken off. This black coating is actually on that tip. So that was very much intentional. So they designed this thing so that it has a point, and the edge on this is in excellent condition. It's not shaving sharp, but it's not far off. So there is a very slight burr on this side. Very, very slight, but you can feel it if you know what you know. If you know what you're looking for, you can feel it. You could probably take that one off at a strop real easy. I haven't done it. I don't plan on carrying this at all, but I may take it off because I'm a stickler for that kind of thing. But it's definitely meant as a piercing tool. This is meant as a go into something tool, and we all know what this is designed to go into. It's a bayonet. It's designed to attach to things. Now, I don't understand how you attach it. There's two small holes here, and this actually is a kind of concave in the top. So I'm assuming that's part of the locking process, but I don't know. I've never seen one in use. It's full tang. I checked with the magnet. This is also steel, so you could use it for some hammering, which is also very common in the field, whether the bayonets are designed for that or not. I can guarantee you that service people will use it as a hammer if nothing else is available. Um, so I think that this is part of the locking mechanism, probably in combination with this. There's got to be a reason that this is got a radius in it, and it's not just flat. I don't know what that reason is, but I'm making the assumption that it's part of the locking process. It is coated, which is obviously done for rust prevention. And I don't have any idea if this edge, how this has got a nice radius on it. It's not a lot, it's a small radius, but a nice radius on it. I don't know how that would affect like a ferrocerium rod, whether that would, whether that would make it more difficult, or could you actually use this radius to kind of go like this to get a spark? But you know that service people are going to be carrying ferrocerium rods as backups, as well as other probably lighters or things like that. But you never know because you never know where you're going to need something like that. Though you can use a lighter as a spark producing device, even if it has no fuel. It just isn't the easiest thing in the universe. It's very, very comfortable. Obviously, it's meant for people not only have who are using this with their bare hands, but also with gloves, depending on the environment you're in. It's also obviously it's black, and I would make fun of it. But let's face it, if there's one thing in the world that should be black, it's a bayonet. If a service person is carrying a knife and they need to use this in combat as a knife, you want it to be black so it does not reflect light and it's going to blend in with the background and it's not going to be shiny and such. So I'm not going to make fun of something that is actual military hardware for looking like uh, tactical black. As there's nothing on one side, the other side says, oh, sorry, it's this way. Says made in Austria, Glock 78. So I'm not 100% sure what that 78 designation is. I apologize. I am not a bayonet expert. I just happen to be a person that appreciates knives and knows a little bit about them. And this is very comfortable. Now I find it interesting, there's a very slight gap between the molded handle and the guard. And I don't see that as a problem because that actually help you get garbage out of there. So you're not going to have to worry about there being schmutz in there. You can very easily clean that out. So there's nothing between that's causing you hassles in there. You could mold it so that there's no gap. But I personally think, as a person that has worked in molding for a very long time, getting getting no gap where it's actually no gap and having a no gap situation where you think there's no gap, but there is a gap, that's a fine line. So having a slight gap that you can actually see, meaning that you could actually clean it if you have to, I think is personally a preference when you're using a tool that is going to get, let's say wet. Yeah, let's say wet. And you want to get that wetness off your blade. That might be a handy way to make sure that you're not getting any wetness between your guard and your handle. Um, it's very comfortable. It is the handle is oblong. There we go. Yeah, oblong. So it means don't have to worry about edge alignment. You can feel it. Not to mention you have this handy dandy tool. So if you wanted to do this, um, which is actually, sorry, that's actually quite uncomfortable for me. It's not uncomfortable with my thumb, so you can do that. But again, arthritis. Uh, but yeah, I like this thing. and I got it for a great price. I'm quite happy with it, and it's definitely going to be part of my that's a great sound. Be part of my collection, and I'm happy to have it in it. So if anybody out there knows anything particular about these that I don't know, I would love to hear about it. Anyone else who has collected any number of different, bayonets or something knows more like, say, different varieties that may have come out of Glock when it comes to bayonets, you could drop me a comment. Or if you know what the 78 stands for, is that the year of production? Was that just a model number? Because again, I don't know. So if you would be pass that piece of information on, I would greatly appreciate it. So this has been the Glock Austrian-made bayonet. I think this is a great tool and very useful for its intended purpose. Yes.